What's up, guys? So I did a couple of videos just talking a little bit about the physiology behind exercise and behind um, why things aren't always the way that they seem, and then why things don't always make sense. So I'm going to be a little bit of a nerd over here. The first thing that I want to talk about is why you often see people that are doing a whole bunch of cardio and they're never really getting into great shape. I mean, you see these people that walk into the gym straight to the treadmill, doing their 30, 40 minutes there and then do a little bit of abs and leave, but these people look the same day after day, year after year, never really getting rid of that stubborn layer of fat on the body. Maybe you know this person, maybe you are this person. So I'm going to get into that a little bit and explain why that is and why you're not doing yourself any favors by by going ahead and training like that and doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So the first thing, there are a couple of physiological principles that the body operates by, and one of them is called the SAID principle, SAID, which is known as the specific adaptation to imposed demands principle. So what this basically means is your body adapts to what you're often doing, to the things that you're doing often. Your body starts to adapt to that because obviously the body's extremely well designed and intelligent and it wants to get better at what it's doing. So obviously, to put it very simply, if you're doing a lot of cardio, your body's going to do everything in its power to get better at doing that kind of cardio, from a metabolic pathway, from a muscular pathway. And so what we see happening is when people are doing a lot of cardio, your main source of fat doing that cardio, your main source of energy when doing that cardio is fat. So what's happening is when you are doing it over and over on a regular basis really often, your body knows that it is using fat as its primary energy source. So it has to become more effective at utilizing fat. So what it does is, obviously, it metabolically, it gets into the fat stores easier, but the other problem is it gets more effective at storing that fat because that's its primary energy source. And it's also that kind of cardio that you can do for 30-40 minutes is not very taxing on the muscles. Although the muscles might feel tired, it's not really challenging you on a neuromuscular level, so your muscles aren't really getting fatigued. So your body's saying, hey, listen, these muscles, they're getting tired. They're the thing that is limiting me from doing more cardio, because obviously the more muscle you have, the more difficult it is to carry on for long periods of time, just because muscle is an economic tissue. It's constantly using fuel. So what will your body rather burn? What will your body rather get rid of? It'll rather break down the protein in the muscles, make yourself lighter, more efficient at going for longer periods of time. So when you are doing a bunch of cardio and not offsetting that with a fair amount of weight training, that's actually challenging weight training, I'm not just talking about pink dumbbells, doing a little bit of curls and small muscle group exercise over here. When you're not really challenging the muscular system and you're doing a lot of cardio, your body's adapting to the principle of, hey, this muscle is not as important to me as the fat is. Because another thing about when fat burns, every gram that fat burns gives you 9 calories of energy. Every gram of protein and carbohydrate that burns gives you 4 calories of energy. So fat's giving you double the amount of energy. So your body sees fat as very valuable. In a time of survival, in a time of sort of famine situation, fat's extremely valuable because it gives you double the energy that protein molecule and that carbohydrate molecule would give you. So your body's really going to it's going to try and preserve that fat, especially when you're doing that often, when you're doing long duration stuff, and that's the main part of your workout. That's the most important things. You think to yourself, I need to do more cardio to get leaner, to get in shape, to burn fat. Yes, you do burn fat. Well, you do burn more fat while you're doing cardio. But like I'm saying, your body's adapting to that, adapting to becoming more efficient at hanging onto its fat, and also getting rid of the muscle tissue. So what you need to be doing is switching things around a little bit, making resistance training the larger part of your training. I'm not saying stop doing cardio. You need to do cardio. It is important. You do need to do it to get rid of those stubborn fat stores, but it needs to not be the main part of your training. The main part of your training needs to be resistance training, and not just, like I say, light little dumbbell work. It needs to be something that is challenging to you on a neuromuscular level. So large compound movements such as squats, deadlifts, presses, pulls. These things are using a lot of muscle groups per exercise, thus they're burning a lot more calories as well, not only while you're exercising, but also for up to 48 to 72 hours after exercise. Heavy resistance training elevates your metabolic rate after that. It's known as the EPOC, excessive post-exercise oxygen consumption effect. So while cardio only burns fat while you're exercising for those 30-40 minutes, and after that it's not really doing much more, resistance training is burning for more than a day afterwards. It's elevating your metabolism, it's burning more. Also, every let's say pound or kilogram of muscle you add, that's also increasing your metabolism. Why? Because muscle is metabolically active tissue. Even when you're at home after your workout on the couch, walking around, doing whatever, every gram of muscle in your body is using fuel, and that means it's increasing your metabolism. Where fat is not using any fuel, fat's dead. It's just sitting there providing you energy when you need it. So we have to be smart about this. We have to understand that our bodies are highly adaptive machines, and that they are going to adapt to what we do most of the time. So when your body sees, hey, I'm shifting heavy stuff on a regular basis, more regularly than I'm going for long distance periods of time, it's going to say, hey, I need that muscle. I can't afford to throw that muscle away. Which it can say when you're doing more cardio. It says, hey, that muscle is expensive. It's not economic. It's like having a huge car engine. It's like, let's get rid of that stuff. So, maybe help you guys to think a bit differently about doing too much cardio and too little resistance work, leading to the phenomenon of becoming skinny fat, essentially, and also just spinning your wheels and doing the same stuff and not really seeing results, plateauing. You need to be throwing in some challenging resistance work, and in another video I'll talk about more specifically the rep ranges, how that works, what you should be doing there as well to challenge different parts of your muscular system, because obviously not all resistance training is the same. You can work at only on the muscular level, you can train the neuromuscular system, a lot of different things that you can do there. But the most important thing to take away from this is that cardio needs to not be the biggest part of your workout. It needs to not be what your workout is centered around, because that's just going to long term going to make things a lot more difficult for you. You're not really going to be reaching the goals that you want to be reaching. But yeah, that's it for today. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this, like, subscribe, follow, do all that stuff, and